Hi, I'm Roma Greer, and today's talk will be about how to spend your life being something, not just doing something. Today, I want you to explore the possibility of not just being an artist or a creative, but also a change maker. And a key element of beginning that process is this. Don't just ask yourself, what kind of art do I want to make? What gallery do I want to be in? How can I sell my art? But also ask, what problem do I want to solve? And then take some small creative steps through your art to achieve that. So to start off today, I want you to take one of the pieces of paper that you were asked to bring to this talk and write down a problem you would love to solve. So this problem can be as big or as small as you want it to be. It can be as personal or as global as you want it to be. Anything that you're truly interested in and very passionate about. So I was always told to make lots of change, loads of change, as much change as I could, and to make my mark on the world. And growing up in the area in Australia where I did, there wasn't a lot of opportunity or possibility where it felt like this was going to happen, and it seemed like a huge ask. I really wanted to be in the arts, creating, making, singing, drawing, writing. Also seemed like a bit of an ask at the time, but it was something I managed to go on and do. But funnily enough now, as it turns out, change is exactly the field in which I've ended up. I find myself in Hong Kong, an accidental artistic director and curator of public art interventions, an urban disruptor of sorts, using art as a vehicle for positive change. But I focus on small change. And during this talk, I also want you to consider the idea of the scale of the change and the actions that you're taking. There's always so much pressure to do something big, something momentous. But is this really necessary to make positive and important change for yourself as an artist or your community or the world? And is it also important to give your journey as an artist depth and meaning? So I, funnily enough, happily find myself making change and making art, but not making any big change at all. Instead, I harness creativity from around the world to help small communities in need. My focus is on how arts can be a conduit for positive change and transformation within communities that don't often have the privilege to opt in to creative expression or be given the opportunity to be part of local and global conversations. And it's working. I have personally witnessed the incredibly powerful effects of a global community coming together as creatives to affect small change in people's daily lives through art. It's simple change, but it's profound, important, and necessary, and provides me with a lot of inspiration and the ability to continue on no matter what, because I clearly defined the problem that I wanted to solve. I wanted to ensure that art was accessible to everyone and that everyone had a voice and capacity to express themselves. It's undeniable that things for artists across the world are incredibly hard right now, harder than usual by far. And in the face of all of the overwhelming social, political, and environmental issues we face, overlaid with a global pandemic, how can we as artists keep going? What is our role, and how can we make meaningful contribution through our art? My belief is that we should stop thinking of ourselves as just artists and shift into the role of creative change makers as well. The reason for this is I believe we have three key strengths. The first one is creative resilience. We as artists operate outside traditional structures. We often do not have a regular income, 9 to 5 hours, bosses telling us what our expectations are and the outcome should be. We work it all out ourselves. You do not wait for anyone to provide you with an opportunity for what you want to do. You create it yourself. All of us are forced into the fringes where we make up the rules and respond to the environment as it appears to us. We are constantly exploring new possibilities, ways of thinking or reflecting the world. And we often do it with limited resources, support and infrastructure. I want you to think of all the ways you've been resilient before the pandemic. How have you earned money, paid your rent, dealt with the rejection letters or the job that you don't really want but you have to do, the no from the boss or from the government funding? You're always finding lateral new solutions and creative ways to keep doing what you're passionate about anyway. These are skills that are just incredible. We're not dependent on institutions or governments. We're often laterally operating outside of capitalism and social structures. You completely embody resilience. You have the skills. Jeffrey Davis wrote that creative resilience is the capacity to generate and act on positive solutions under the pressures of challenge and change. It is reimagining our environment and shifting our perspective to discover new possibilities. It is the ability to embrace change under challenging circumstances, just like we find ourselves in now, and to see the magic in that, to see the opportunity in that. The second strength I believe that we possess as creatives is that we are the visionaries. We are the catalysts for envisioning possibility that can lead to change. Artists aren't just the translators of real life into another medium. We have the creative capacity to imagine new ways of doing things, seeing things, experiencing things. You can see and imagine things that others cannot. New solutions, new possibilities. You then have the capacity to make these things tangible, real through your art in a way that helps others believe that perhaps this new possibility is achievable, and then start to plan how to get there. It is a skill that can help people start to believe in and develop a different, better, more equitable and sustainable future. The third skill that I believe we all have, and if you didn't already have it, hopefully you do now if you refer back to your paper, is we have a purpose. When you have identified clearly your purpose, the problem you want to solve, the why of what you are doing, and focus on contributing to it in small ways, huge things are possible. Once you know your purpose, then you're able to continue on no matter what rejection or challenge you face, as you know the bigger picture of what you are doing and that it has meaning. I also believe the other element to this is to definitely think big. Sure, definitely whilst trying to achieve your purpose, go for big ideas, big solutions, big changes, but don't forget to think small, because sometimes it can have more importance, more meaningful impact. From the micro changes we often instigate can come the macro shifts we need. It is also the answer to any feelings of failure you experience. When you know what problem you are trying to solve through your creativity, then you know that each rejection or failure is contributing actually to you getting closer to solving the problem. I think that if the time we are living through right now has shown us anything, it's that the current systems and institutions simply don't work. Too many people in our global society are silenced, left behind, ignored, exploited, impoverished. I personally believe artists are uniquely placed to change this in a million small and large ways. So I wanted to show you an example of how microgalleries recently addressed this problem. We just finished a project called Project Forward 2047. So as our environment, political structures and sense of human rights has shown stress fractures during the pandemic, I believe we desperately needed new inspiration and solutions to global challenges. We needed innovative, diverse minds contributing to inventive planning and possibilities. And microgalleries just happens to have a whole collective of artists we've gathered over the years who believe the same thing, as well as loads of creative friends who wanted to help us too. So to end 2020, we featured 32 microgalleries artists, 13 incredible guest artists, and over 10 new commissioned works by us. We showed these works across 12 locations. 6 of those were in under-resourced communities with limited access to global festivals. We created 50 minutes of content and it was shown over 3 nights. And all of these artworks responded to a challenge. The artists were told they are the new global leaders creating the blueprint for 2047. They braved the wilds of possibility and explored ideas about what values people will have, how they will spend their time, and what the cultural landscape might look like in the future. What will we all do all day? What is our connection to the environment? How will we live? And how have we learned at that point from 2020? Basically, if we could plan the future, what would it look like? We created the concept, the content, and made partnerships to safely bring art across the world to places we believe needed it the most, and made 45 new plans and ideas about the future along the way. We did this with a tiny budget, but mostly with the strength and vision and willingness of other creatives around the world who believed in solving the same problem that I did. So if this has inspired you, even in a small way, I wanted to end my talk by giving you 3 tasks in the hopes that this can help you get on the path to being a creative change maker. And as I'm telling you about these, I want to share a few quotes from our collective who put forward a few words for you to share with you how they've been overcoming the creative challenges they've been facing during this time. So number 1 is work out your why. Why are you creating? What problem do you want to solve? And don't just think about it, write down a statement about it. What is this problem? Why do you want to solve it? The second is that imagine what the solution looks like to you. Can you use your skills as an artist to visualize it, to make it real and tangible and visible to others? Then work out what you need to do to make this happen. Make a list of the skills, the experience, the exposure that you need, and then make a plan to get all of those things. But before you do that, I would love for you to take the second piece of paper that we asked you to bring along today, and I want you to write down 2 things very quickly. The first is, what small step can you do right now in the conditions that you find yourself in that will help you take a step towards solving the problem? And what small step can you do later? What is something for later? It's not possible to do right now during the pandemic or whatever constraints you find yourself within. The third one is keep going. How do you keep going during a time like this? Keep showing up. Make every day, create a daily practice for yourself. Don't wait for inspiration. Decide that you have a problem you want to solve, and in order to achieve that in your lifetime, you must create every day. It can be small moments of creation or ideas. There are loads of free programs online at the moment. One of the perks of the pandemic is there's so many virtual resources that have become available to many of us. Don't stop. Don't be discouraged by day-to-day or month-to-month issues. Remember your creative resilience. The key to achieving small impact that you hope to is to keep going. So I really, really hope that this talk has hopefully inspired you and encouraged you in some way and reminded you that you have the skills to get through this period. So just remember, don't get overwhelmed. You have all these skills to be resilient and to continue to think small as well as big, and use everything you know to be the positive change makers I know you're equipped to be already through your creativity and art. I wish you all the best of luck with everything you're going to be working on. Take your 2 pieces of paper, build them up into a statement and a plan, and please feel free to reach out to Micro Galleries anytime you need some encouragement or assistance. We are definitely here to help you on your way. And thank you so much to Artivism for an amazing program and for inviting myself and Micro Galleries to be a small part of it. We're really excited to be part of this team this year. Thank you. Bye.